And now to legislative matters. The Association of Legislative Drafting and Advocacy Practitioners has demanded President Bola Tinubu to declare a state of emergency on the Senate. Now, they say the chamber has failed to act on 146 bills passed by the House since 2024, violating its constitutional duty under Section 53. In a statement signed by its Secretary Tonye Jaja, the association warned of legal action and urged executive intervention to, quote, force compliance. The group argued delay in processing these bills undermines legislative balance and national development. Now, they call on Tinubu to step in before the legislative impasse stalls key reforms. Joining us live now from Lesotho is Tonye Jaja, the Secretary of the Association. He's also a lawyer as well. Dr. Jaja, or Mr. Jaja, thank you so much for joining us. Let me just get started. What specific actions do you believe the President should take to address the legislative impasse and ensure that the Senate acts on the pending bills?
So the first action the President can take is declare a state of emergency on the Senate, and then there will be an election of a pro tempore Senate President. That is a temporary President of the Senate.
And what are the potential implications of declaring a state of emergency in the Senate? And could it set a precedent for future legislative conflicts?
Yes, there's a conflict now because the Senate arm of the National Assembly is not performing its duty of concurrence of bills under Section 53 of the 1999 Constitution. Therefore, pending when the President intervenes, we are saying that there ought to be the House of Representatives, which has been carrying on its duties, should be allowed to send bills directly to the President for assent, pending when the Senate puts its house in order.
Now, what are the potential consequences of not addressing this legislative gridlock, and how can it be resolved?
Yes, that is why we have filed a lawsuit at the Federal High Court. The judges should compel, is an order of mandamus we're seeking for the judge to compel the President to take action. Either you compel the Senate within 2 weeks to grant concurrence, perform its legislative duty under Section 53, or failing which, if they do not elect a temporary President of the Senate, then the House of Representatives should carry on the business of lawmaking for the entire country. Send the bills directly to the President instead of this waiting. 146 bills which should improve the welfare of citizens of Nigeria. They are stalled. There's a report, empirical report, that since 2003, that this Senate was inaugurated, it has only passed 12% of the bills passed by the Senate are the bills that deal with agriculture and security. And these are the core requirements of the citizens of Nigeria: agriculture for food, and then security for lives and property. Since they are not performing their duties, we are seeking the order of the courts to compel the President to declare a state of emergency and then allow the House of Representatives to perform that function of sending bills directly to the President for assent, pending when the Senate is ready to perform its duties.
Now, your association, ALDRAP, can you just elaborate on the legal actions that your association is considering if the Senate fails to act on these bills?
Okay, so we have already filed at the Federal High Court. An order of mandamus, for those who are not lawyers, is an order granted by the court to compel a public official, a government official, to perform duties they have failed to perform. So we have filed that, We wait for a date. The Federal High Court has not given us a date. We're waiting for that. Once they give a date, the judge would look at our arguments, and if he deems them fit, he would grant those requests or reliefs that we are seeking on behalf of the Nigerian people. Just a little background. Our association was established in the year 2017 because of the gap in knowledge amongst lawyers. Even lawyers, there are very few lawyers that have knowledge of legislative law and procedures. I studied my master's and PhD at the University of London in legislative law. It's a specialized area of law. It tells you the procedures, how legislatures should run in accordance with the Constitution. So we have very few lawyers. In fact, our association has a membership of just about 1,000 lawyers. We are staff of the National Assembly, State Houses of Assembly, ECOWAS Parliament, and other legislatures within Africa and beyond. So we are trying to improve the knowledge of citizens and even legislators about their constitutional duties as legislators. Most of them are not aware of this.
Now, I have to ask you, right, does the law empower, Mr. President, to evoke or to declare emergency on the Senate? And has there been precedents of such, if not in Nigeria, but in other democracies that we've seen across the world?
Yes. I am currently a legal consultant to the government of Lesotho. I started providing legal advice service in the year 2022. There was a similar situation in the Kingdom of Lesotho. The Attorney General sought my advice. I gave him the legal opinion I had based on their 1993 constitution. So in Nigeria, Section 305 of the Nigerian Constitution, 1999 Constitution says, if there is a threat to public order, so what the Senate is doing constitutes a threat, direct threat to public law and order, because the duty of the Senate is to make laws to maintain law and order in the society. If they're not performing that duty, it constitutes a threat. On the part of the House of Reps, they've always provided concurrence to the bills sent to them by the Senate. So there's no backlog from the end of the House of Reps. But the Senate, on the other hand, is not performing its duties. Therefore, the President, under Section 305 of the Nigerian Constitution, has the power to declare a state of emergency. Remember, in Rivers State, the President also declared a state of emergency because the legislature was not performing its duty of passing the annual budget.
Right.
So this is a similar circumstance.
Many might argue and say that Lesotho is somewhat of a kingdom compared to, democracy and a style of government like ours. But I wish there's enough time for this conversation. But I must say thank you, Tonye Jaja, for joining us on the program. Many thanks. We appreciate you for coming on.